Wow, this is insane. I just did a speed test with my Visible R2 using the Visible service, and I just got 29.2 megabits per second down and 31.4 megabits per second up. That is really impressive. Follow me on Instagram at KevinBreezeTV. Please join the Kevin Breeze Tech community on Facebook to chat about budget smartphones, ask questions, and help others. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and this is the Visible R2, which is a phone that's designed by ZTE exclusively for Visible. Now this device has been out for several months now, and I already have several videos about it out on my channel, including a full review video. But very recently, Visible reduced the price of the Visible R2 to just $20 if you open up a new line with them. And if that wasn't cheap enough, you can actually get this phone for free if you trade in your old Android device. And it doesn't matter what it is. So if you have a really old Android phone sitting around at your house that you don't use and you don't think you get much money for if you were to sell it on eBay, and they will send you this brand new out of the box for free. And what's cool too is that they'll send you the Visible R2 first, and then you can send them your old phone so that you don't have to go for a period of time without having a phone. So that program is really convenient and it works out really well. Now in this video, I wanted to give you kind of another overview of the Visible R2, go over the specifications, and then also give you an update about the performance of the Visible network, because a lot has actually changed since I made my review video about this phone. So the device features a Qualcomm Snapdragon 425 processor. It has 2 gigabytes of RAM. Up top here, we have a front-facing camera at 5 megapixels. On the backside, we have a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera. The device features a 720p display coming in at 5.45 inches. You get a 3,200 milliamp hour internal battery with the phone. You get USB-C on the bottom. And on the top, you get a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So overall, the hardware of the phone isn't necessarily anything too special. Of course, we have pretty large bezels on both the top and bottom of the device. But what's good is that the display itself is super clear and looks really good. So if you're going to be using your device to watch a lot of movies, whether that's on Netflix or YouTube, or maybe you're just browsing the web with it, then overall you're going to have a great viewing experience. Now, one of my favorite things about this device especially is the material on the back side. So you can see that we have kind of this really cool and interesting pebble finish here. And this is the first time I've really seen this on a device, especially from ZTE. So ZTE did a great job designing this phone and making it look cool and unique. And not only does this texture look like a pebble texture, but it even feels like it when you run your finger over it. So overall, I'm a really big fan of the material on the backside of this phone. You can see we also have the Visible logo here. And the device, of course, as I mentioned, is an exclusive to Visible. You can't find this anywhere else, and it's not available factory unlocked either. So this is what the front-facing camera looks like, and then you can flip it around and use the rear-facing camera, and both take decent photos. Of course, nothing special. You're not going to win any photography awards with the cameras on this phone, but they're definitely usable. So if you are really into social media, then you're going to have no problem with taking photos that look good enough to post. Now, as far as the software goes, this phone does run Android Oreo, which is kind of a disappointment to see, and I do not know if this phone will ever be updated to Pie, which is the latest version of Android. I highly doubt it, because I've not seen any indications that it will be updated. But the good thing though is that the software that is on here does run really well. It's nice and smooth, and it is well optimized for the hardware. Now let's move on to the most exciting thing about this phone, and that's the network that it runs on. So this device does run on the Visible network. Now Visible is a brand that is owned by Verizon Wireless, and it operates completely separate from Verizon. But what's great is that Visible runs on Verizon's 4G LTE network, which is known to be one of the largest 4G networks in the US. I know that where I live in Arizona, there are many areas where you only get Verizon service, especially in the middle of the desert. So Verizon has done a great job at building out their 4G LTE network to provide you with great coverage. And what's great about Visible is that anywhere that you get Verizon service, you're going to get Visible service. There has also been a major change that has recently happened to Visible, and that change is the removal of their data speed cap. So originally, if you used Visible, your speeds were capped at 5 megabits per second for both the download and upload. And I personally didn't think that was too big of a deal because I think 5 megabits per second isn't that bad as it is. But since that speed cap has been removed, I've been getting some incredible speeds with Visible. Now I showed you these speeds that I just got with Visible at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to do a new speed test now and see what the speeds are now. So here we go. It says Visible down there next to LTE. And it looks like this one is a little bit lower. This is around 10 megabits per second. And we'll let that finish up. So the download is 10 megabits per second, and the upload, it looks like it's going to be closer to around 33 megabits per second upload. And that's something that I have noticed with Visible. Since the removal of the speed cap, the speeds definitely have gone up. But it seems like the speeds are kind of inconsistent because literally 10 minutes ago, I tested this out and the download was 30 megabits per second, and now it's 10. And the upload has still remained around the 30 megabit per second mark. So it seems like the way that this works is that Visible has the lowest priority on Verizon's network. So if the network gets clogged up, then the speeds for Visible users go down. But then if the network is less clogged, then the speeds go back up. So that is one compromise that you do get with Visible, is that the speeds do seem to be a bit volatile, but really getting 10 megabits per second in itself is not bad at all. And of course that upload speed is amazing. That's a much better upload speed than I get with my home internet, and I pay $90 a month for that. But even at that 10 megabits per second download, which like I said, doesn't even happen that often, that's kind of the lower end of things, that's still a faster download speed than I've been getting with Cricket consistently. Typically with Cricket, I get around 8 megabits per second download, so already that's much better. Now I am going to be making separate videos on the channel comparing Visible to Metro by T-Mobile and Cricket, so stay tuned for that. Now before we end this video, I do want to give you a fresh reminder of the pricing and all the details surrounding the Visible service. So Visible only has one plan available at the moment, and that is $40 per month. And for that price, you get unlimited talk, text, and data. And now with the removal of the data speed cap, you get uncapped speeds. So like I mentioned, sometimes you might get 10 megabits per second, sometimes you might get 30 megabits per second down, and the upload is kind of the same way. Now you also get unlimited hotspot with this device. But for hotspot speeds, you are limited at 5 megabits per second still, both download and upload. So that speed cap is still in place for the hotspot. But on the device itself, of course, it is uncapped. But overall, I think that's a great value. It's one of the best values that you're definitely going to get on Verizon's network. So if you live somewhere where Verizon is one of the few carriers that works for you, then that makes Visible even more appealing. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really interested to know your thoughts about Visible and the Visible R2 by ZTE. I personally am a big fan of ZTE, and I've worked with them on a variety of projects in the past. They're a great company, and I'm looking forward to seeing them have some growth in the US. So they definitely nailed it with the Visible R2 when they launched this around the beginning of the year. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think overall, and I will see you in the next video.